Welcome to Divisive Issues, the foul-mouthed, spoiler-filled comic book podcast where we talk about comic books. I'm Sly.
I'm Ryan.
I'm Phil.
And I'm Darryl.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm so sorry.
I'm gonna kill Ryan by the end.
Ryan was wrong, guys.
I was wrong.
No, not just Ryan, because apparently this is popular. People like Ultimates.
Yeah, but usually...
I feel like we said that about, that comes up every single Mark Millar
Because it's
story.
always important. It's important
Yeah,
to notice that this is... He speaks for the people. He's the Trump of comic books.
Okay, so if you haven't listened to last episode, this is part 2. You should go back and listen to last episode first, where we covered the first 6 issues of Ultimates by Mark Millar. And I liked it a lot.
Yeah, you made a pretty impassionate, nice response trying to defend it as being subversive and deconstructing toxic masculinity, which was interesting. We didn't see eye to eye with it, but I was able to hear out your argument and agree with certain
And then
points.
I went back and I read the second half. I was wrong. This book sucks.
Yeah, you're a dirty liar, and I kind of want you to die.
Yeah, I really felt that way reading this yesterday. I was like, wow, this is just bad. This is not a deconstruction of anything.
Yeah, this is like what I was saying before, where it's like, you can't tell the difference between when it's like, oh, look, this is a parody or a satire of something, and then it's like, no, it's playing it like bald-faced. It's straight. It's like, isn't this really funny?
I still think it's a parody overall, but it's such a poorly executed one that, it doesn't commit to what it's trying to do in so many ways that it's pointless to even call it a parody. It's trying to be a parody, but it's Millar, so he fucked it up. So it's like...
I feel like, for me, Millar started as a parody, and then it became super popular, and... he realized that, oh, I can actually make the universe like this. I was deconstructing it, but if I'm allowed to make it this shitty, I'm gonna do that.
No, see, I still,
don't know.
having read a lot of his au revoir, I really still think that he's just been shitty the whole time, and maybe other people like you guys were like, oh, look, he does good parodies.
He has to be joking. That's what we all thought at the time.
Yeah.
Because one of the reasons why I can't let it go is because at the time people told me this was a parody, and there are parts that I'm like, that seems like if a good writer handles it, I'll be like, that's clearly a parody scene. But since it's Millar, I'm like, it could be 100% serious. This one scene.
There are parts where he does say after, the character will say after, yeah, that was dumb, right?
Or you made me feel small, Janet.
Yeah.
That's a good line to be like, hey, look, this is how bad this person is.
But I just because it's surrounded by so much other dumb shit. I don't even want to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
We shouldn't. Fuck Millar. He's a bad writer. This is his crowning magnum opus, by the way. After this is Red Sun and almost nothing else. If this is the best he can offer us, then he can fuck off. Seriously.
I'm curious when we do eventually dip back into Ultimates 2. Not anytime soon, don't worry.
Please.
I'm curious too because the funny thing is, when Ultimates 2 came out, people said, oh shit. But Ryan and I think Joe and a few other people think Ultimates 2 is good. So it might have been just Ultimates 1's fans disappointed that Mark Millar was good for once, or it might be just Ryan is wrong again.
Yeah, it might be I read it years ago, and as we've frequently discussed, my taste is often bad when I first experience something.
Well, it's because you look for the good stuff in it before really
Yeah.
delving into the bad. So naturally, you're impressed by a lot of things, and it's only when you get with us curmudgeonese bastards that you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, so quick recap. Last episode, the Ultimates was the Ultimate Universe Avengers team, and they all got together. It was Captain America, Iron Man, Hank Pym, Ant-Man, the Wasp, the Hulk. Was that everybody?
I think that's
Nick Fury, I guess.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
Nick Fury. And they all got together and were just a bunch of assholes.
Yeah.
So the quick elevator pitch for this second half is basically a bunch of aliens show up. They're literally the aliens from the Avengers movie, the Chitauri.
Yeah.
And they show up and try to kill a bunch of people, and then they get killed instead.
It's It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, except the gang fights an alien invasion.
Yeah. When Ryan
Yeah.
said that this is the aliens from the Avengers movie, I want to clarify this second half. You're talking about political commentary in the first half. The second half is you're watching the Ultimates movie, except instead of some clever writing from Joss Whedon or whatever, you have Mark Millar trying to be quippy. So
Yeah.
it's just
I
objectively
don't
worse
think
than
there's
every
there's
possible way.
no politics at all in this book.
Yeah, in the second half, really.
I mean,
Yeah, in the
maybe if
second
you
half.
want to start reading into subtext of what the Chitauri represent, which I couldn't find anything meaningful. Spoilers, they're literally Nazis, which is
I hate that. Really, turned I was like, oh fuck, of course the Nazis were aliens, you fucking asshole.
And they also to make it worse, Like that's why I'm like it's bullshit that this is a commentary on the Bush administration, because it's so fucking like it would be so easy for a good writer to just be like make the main villain be related to Bush's war of aggressions and shit like that, but no, they made it literally Nazis, nothing,
or just like
alien
against,
Nazis
against like warmongers in general, when instead it's like they were Nazis, and that's why we nuked Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Yeah,
because they were Nazis.
Oh, that was so bad.
You can't claim this is a nuanced book when it has the most black and white enemies possible. Literally, you could not go more black and white than Nazis.
And
like if you were gonna do a real subversion where your heroes are the villains, have the villains be like super sympathetic freedom fighters or something.
Well, that's why part one was a lot more interesting, was because the villains kind of were the Avengers themselves.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's how movement. They should have followed with that. If this if this book was half the length and you cut out the satire entirely, this would be way better as what it's trying to be theoretically as a commentary.
So yeah, the only other thing that I want to explicitly mention, because it's where we pick up, is at the end of last episode, Hank Pym, Giant Man, Ant-Man, beat his wife and put her in the hospital.
Yeah, like,
and then ran away.
I thought, like, from what it left off with, like, it looked like he killed her. He had ants swarm her tiny body, and
She's
she was
in the fucking
screaming.
hospital, so like she is like brutally injured. So
Yeah. Oh, and the Hulk massacred New York City.
Yeah.
So I didn't mention this. I didn't mention about this because so much to bitch about like Millar's versions of the characters. Why he's subverting them so much by making them all assholes. He made Hulk into a mass murdering cannibal in this version too, on top of a rapist.
He eats everybody.
So yeah, it's like if you like these characters, it's so funny because if you like these characters, like, why would you want to read this? Like, you have to be a new person to want to read this book. I don't get it. Whatever. So anyway, Hulk massacres post-mortem. Everyone's in churches mourning the dead, which is actually like, it's funny because there's always these random scenes where Millar's like, I can show how human beings actually react to stuff. So you have this, and you have while this is happening,
I like that he almost needs to prove it to himself. I'm still human.
And like while this is happening, they show the Wasp being put into a stretcher, and this is like it's a very somber moment. Like if this was made in like Nemesis universe, there'll be like people making smart ass comments like, "Oh, it looks like she got beaten by a giant man," ha ha ha. Or something.
It's one of those things where it's kind of made almost for like a movie, and you're supposed to have like this like timbre
soundtrack,
modest little voice singing like a hymn over these characters in church while the Wasp is being put on a stretcher.
Exactly.
In slow motion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then Bruce Banner's now in containment, like he's being drugged up to keep the Hulk under wraps. And they tell him about how he's been out as the Hulk. He has been out at the Hulk, but he's now permanently the Hulk because of what he did to himself with the new serum.
Yeah, they can't cure him from his like Hulk disease.
It like
he was cured
bonded with his DNA or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like now everyone thinks the Avengers are heroes because they stopped one of their own team members from destroying New York City. And Betty tells the rest of the team, or at least Captain America and Tony, about how Hank and Janet had a history of abuse, and like since college, Janet will come with bruises and stuff like that. And like Janet always try to keep Betty out of it, and like try to deal with herself, and like she'll always come back to Hank.
Yeah, with this, the way Betty talks about it is, I actually think Millar does kind of a good job here of talking about like an abusive relationship, where she keeps saying like she kept convincing herself the good times were worth the bad, and like he would always make it up to her, and like it actually is nuanced and like probably the only part of this whole book I like.
Yeah, that's the funny thing. Like if Millar didn't go full Millar and have Hank Pym try to fucking murder Janet, like he might like severely beat her, but he like summoned ants to swarm her body and eat her alive. Like if he just punched her a lot and maybe but no, he had to go full Millar, and if you remove all that, it's actually a very realistic depiction of abusive relationship.
Even in the examples that Betty gives are still a little too much. Like he put her head through a bathroom door. He punched her so hard her mouth split in two. It's like you could just feel like she had like black. Like that's bad enough.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Is it's still that Millar hyperbole?
Yeah,
where it's like so over the top, but like the emotion behind what he's saying like actually lands for me.
There's another great Millar scene before this when they're at the vigil for the people who died. Yeah. And Bucky and Gale go to see Captain America. So Bucky's his old partner and his old girlfriend who are now married. Yeah. And she looks over at him and is like, "You're looking good, Steve." And he's like, "You too, Gale. You too." And then you see Bucky looking like, "Huh? Like, am I being cucked?"
How can Bucky compete to a 40-year-old Captain America? Come on.
Yeah.
And the other thing that Betty talks about at this point too is that they kept the public doesn't know that Hulk is Bruce Banner.
Yeah.
They just think he's just some bad guy.
Yeah, they try to keep the Hulk separation. That's one of the things they need to do. So Banner's been like, they tell Banner that he's been untarnished by this event, but he's still under wraps.
Yeah.
And so then we meet Black Widow. I just want to say Black Widow's like, you could cut Black Widow entirely from Black Widow, Hawkeye, and Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch entirely could be cut from the story and not make any difference whatsoever.
Oh my god, Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch.
I thought they were kind of funny. Like, I was like, because I'm like, they're a joke. They're not here as characters.
Yeah, the joke with Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver's at the end, they show up, they don't do anything. At the end, they're like, our job here is done. And people are like, you literally didn't do anything. And they're like, didn't we? And they leave.
Yeah, no, they say, check the cameras. I'm Quicksilver, bitch. Like, and it's like, it's funny. Like, because they're not characters, they're just jokes. Yeah.
So the joke of them is that they're not characters, but Black Widow and Hawkeye are also not characters. And like you could give those lines to any other character, and the story will essentially play out the same way.
They do some stuff, but it's not enough to introduce more characters on top of what we
have. And like the stuff they do, like Black Widow saves Jan later on. I think it would be more interesting if Janet saved herself, and like Hawkeye takes out the Hulk later on. I think it would be more interesting if Captain America took out the Hulk, because the Hulk and Captain America have a relationship, while Hawkeye literally has nothing to do with the Hulk. He never talks to the Hulk at all before this.
And also their costumes are just leather-clad douchebags. That's like what they are.
It was like when the X-Men movies were come out and everyone was getting leather costumes. So.
Yeah, there's just like the S&M brigade.
Oh, and Hawkeye is introduced by, he walks into a building, it's a shield operation, and the secretary at the front desk won't let him up, so he shoots an arrow through his hand.
It's just like the beginning of The Matrix. I felt like Millar was trying.
Oh, yeah.
Not the beginning, but that scene.
Yeah,
that scene,
the post office scene.
And again, if you're fans of these characters, they don't have the same problem as like the Hulk or whatever, but like if you're a fan like Hawkeye, this is just a guy who, in black leather calling himself Hawkeye. He's not the character at all, so like it just sucks shit.
Oh, it looks so ugly.
Yeah,
sorry, that's judgmental Daryl again. Commenting.
He kind of reminds me of the guy from Wanted, just in the way he looks.
Oh, he does actually. He really does, and he actually has because Hawkeye in the Ultimate Universe they made him to like Bullseye from Daredevil, where he can make every shot. So he kind of is like power-wise the guy from Wanted, making bullets fly around everything.
Yeah, pretty much.
So
it's also funny in these kind of scenes where you have a guy with a bow and that's his thing, and like he shoots the one guy, and then in the panel it's just him standing cool with his bow, and there's like bullet shots all around him, and it's like as if like. No, it's one of those like stupid action scene things where you're like, because I am character.
Yeah, no one can hit this person.
Yeah, bullet don't matter to me. I am Bowman.
Yeah, well, it's Millar. He's not gonna write a character like Hawkeye in a realistic way to fit into this realistic universe. Because it's funny because the whole idea is to make it more realistic, but it makes you causes to question the comic booky elements even more by doing it. So, like if Hawkeye is fighting against like a purple fucking aliens, it's different than him fighting guys with guns in the real setting. Yeah, so like Ryan said, they go to the building, they shoot up everyone inside because they're all...
real quick, I want to... Because we jumped to issue 8 while doing this. Captain America goes into like this place to look for where Hank Pym is. He uses the like Avengers machines or the Ultimates machines to locate him. But I accidentally read issue 8 and 9 first, and I felt like I actually didn't miss anything really.
Yeah, you don't. You really don't. So much of this fucking story is filler. This fucking second half.
Yeah. Whereas I thought like issue 8 when they were shooting up a bunch of people, I'm like, oh, this is Millar trying to be edgy until it's revealed that they're all secretly like chameleon aliens, which they are.
I fucking hated this whole thing.
And like everything gets like reiterated that like you already know from the last issue.
This book's bad.
So when Sly says like it could be summed up in half the amount of time, it definitely can.
Yeah, and I just want to point out this terrible line. When Hawkeye shoots the guy in the head, Hawkeye's like, "Oh, I'm here for an appointment." And he's like, "You don't have an appointment with us." He's like, "You didn't even check." And the guy's like, "I have every appointment up in my head." And then Hawkeye's like, "Is that real? Are you serious about that?" And he shoots him in the head, saying, "Not anymore, cue ball." Like,
why have that exchange at all?
Yeah.
Why have this shield operation just have a guy with a bow go in first and like do cool things?
Because
what's the point?
It's Millar and he needs cool stuff to happen, even if it looks like civilians are getting killed.
Yeah, this is basically literally the scene from the Matrix where they raid the fucking office building. So
except everyone's a civilian, which is why I was like, I don't know like how I feel about this.
And you're like, really? Is every person who works here a fucking alien?
Because
like
they're
not
all
one
fleeing. They're not fighting. They're all fleeing.
They're fleeing and they're getting mowed down by this covert ops military group led by Black Widow and Hawkeye, and they're joking around as they shoot all these office workers. Like, it's a really, it's like
a Wanted level humor. Like you can tell there's signs of Wanted in this fucking in this fucking scene. But anyway, fuck all the badass action scenes of them jumping through helicopters and shit.
No,
Helicopter.
You have to mention this. Another dumb fucking Millar action scene where Hawkeye's about to get shot, hanging off a building. Black Widow has the time to say, "Okay, people on the helicopter. I need you when I say go to throw a sniper rifle out of your helicopter," and then runs through the building, jumps out the window while shooting people, grabs that sniper rifle mid-air, and shoots all the people who are about to shoot Hawkeye before any of it happens. And it's just like, and he just like, I'm cool. She's just like, I'm cool as a cucumber, no problem.
And I think this is when Hawkeye points out the deconstruction.
This isn't a fucking deconstruction. He's making a joke.
That was the joke. That was the joke. Where Hawkeye's like, I can't quip as fast as you. I don't have cybernetic enhancements that let me make jokes fast.
Yeah. No, it's like while I'm fighting, I can't talk, but he did the whole time.
Actually, there's like the thing about I like about Hawkeye is that he's actually like an everyman. It would have been cool if like he was the one who's like, why is everyone quipping while fighting? But no, he quips too. So like the joke is ruined.
Yeah.
Again, like, it's Millar only like he writes in one pace and one speed the entire time for like most of the characters. Yeah. Where it's like Nick Fury makes the same kind of jokes that Iron Man makes.
Yeah, this really was a template. This really was a template for the movies. Wow, holy shit.
Yeah, it really is.
Like the bad movies, because like there are like some of the good movies like can differentiate the voices, but then when you watch like the big action scenes in like the Avengers, everyone kind of blends together after a while. Yeah, so then they have the new team because now like Jan's in the hospital, Hank Pym ran away. This is basically the second team from of the Avengers with Quicksilver. The second team from the original comics: Quicksilver, Scarlet Witch, Black Widow, and Hawkeye. But like I said, they don't matter. This whole thing's just a reference for no reason.
Yeah.
And they talk about how aliens are on Earth, and this is nothing that sucks. This plot should have been introduced way earlier. Should have been way more. If they're going to do this at all, they should have introduced it way earlier. Tell it more to a plot, but no, this just comes up randomly here. Like, by the way, there's aliens on Earth. Like you have this plot about aliens being among us, and they just slapdash it here in this one scene. They have the Hawkeye and Black Widow kill these aliens, and then reveal they were actually aliens. Like the scene right after immediately. Like,
the only foreshadowing there is at all from last episode is at the very beginning when Captain America's in the 40s. Somebody's like, "These guys have pretty advanced technology," and that's literally it. It's so dumb.
Well, on top of that, like we said, that they go back and they talk about how like the Hitler was an alien, and that we bombed Nagasaki and Hiroshima, taking care of their little Japanese training
to kill
camps.
the aliens.
Yeah, that stuff where like I don't know if it's because like it as you get older you get like a lot more sensitive to this material, or maybe some of you might not. But it was just like it was such a weird thing to read about like this. You know, you can say like the pros and cons about dropping the bomb on Japan, but to brush it over with that there were Japanese training camps there for aliens, it like struck me it'd be like if 9/11 happened, but it was to get the alien training camps in the World Trade Center. It's really insensitive,
and especially because like at the first part, if this is supposed to be like a satire of America's aggressive foreign policy, maybe just throwing in a throwaway line that justifies dropping 2 nuclear bombs offhandedly, maybe that's not what he's going for.
And 2, this is supposed to be set in a more realistic, real-world scenario. This is supposed to be Avengers in the real world. Like this fails on both premises. This is a shitty fucking adaptation of Avengers to the real world, and it's a shitty fucking political satire.
No, it's literally when they start describing them, it is the reptilian globalist Illuminati. If they were real, it's like they literally say.
God, I didn't even think about that.
What? They say they're reptilian.
Yeah.
They say they're 8 feet tall reptilians that have been putting mind control drugs in the water supply, infiltrating the media, giving us artificial sweeteners to poison us, and they want to create like a one world government or something. Like they're literally the globalist Illuminati.
I think you're looking too much into that, because at the end they even bring up that there's conspiracy theories about this whole entire event, and they don't mention Lizardman at all. If this was well written, they'll bring that up, but they don't. That's a fucking after effect of Millar being a shitty writer.
It's great too because the reptilians themselves, the Chitauri, confirm it, where they're like, "This was our secret plan all along." The book
doesn't fucking bring that up at all. They have conspiracy theories at the end, but they don't mention the fucking Lizardman fucking conspiracy theory.
Oh my god, it's Alex Jones's Avengers.
Yeah. It's just a bad book. But yeah, it ends with Hank Pym's in the bar, and Captain America goes to meet up with him, and that's the end of it.
To quote unquote meet up with him.
Yeah, no shadow. Go ahead.
Phil, save us. What happens?
Fuck, it's my turn. God damn it. the next issue starts out where he's just like,
And it just as a real quick thing, the next issue starts out with Captain America whispering in Hank Pym's ears, "What are you watching, Pym? Anything interesting?" And it's a full page. Like, this is Millar isn't using his real estate, like the comic book real estate, really well here. If anything, it's just showcasing how good the artist is, Brian Hitch.
But that's fine. I want less dialogue and more art.
But this is the
please.
thing, like, you pay fucking how much
$4 a comic?
This was a premium price back in the day. These Ultimate books, they were more than a regular comic because of the fucking fancy covers and shit. And like you have to, this fucking comic should be 13 issues, and it should have been fucking more plot in each issue. It's so fucking waste of money just to make fucking. This should have been 2 parts. It should.
It's also worth noting that one thing that actually I think that this book did do well. I'm saying that tentatively. Is that
eventually stopped.
Yeah, well, it ended. Earlier when they were talking about the abuse situation, Captain America is like he sits there silently the whole time looking angry.
Yeah.
So when he did this, it's like, oh, they were trying to show without saying obviously that he's angry. I was like, it's actual like writing. Like
it is. There's parts where that's why people say like people like don't understand how much Millar's fallen because he was edgelord. He was always edgelord and always making all these dumb fucking moments. But he had moments where he was like, maybe he can write. But those moments are gone now. But
hold on.
There are moments like that here.
Phil, did you compliment Millar for drawing someone angrily but not having them say I'm angry?
And for them going and doing something about it. It's
like that's
because it was one of those situations where when I read that scene earlier, I was like, he's gonna go beat the shit out of Hank Pym before it happens. Like you can kind of
Millar,
see
not telegraphing a fucking emotion like broadly is like a whoa. You're writing like a fucking Shakespeare.
Yeah. I was just saying he did something useful in this.
Yeah, no, it's just so funny.
Yeah. So then he just basically starts to beat the shit out of Hank. He drags him outside. Of course, because it has to be, everything has to line up, the stars have to line up. As he goes to beat him up on the TV, it's like, Hank Pym, Giant Man, beat his wife. And then, he's like, this is a cosmic coincidence. Now step outside, you piece of trash, whatever.
Yeah, and then he's like, well, if I beat him up, he's like, change size, damn it, which is a fucking funny line.
Yeah, he's like, he just starts beating him up. It's a really uninteresting kind of...
And it's like half the issue.
Yeah, it's like, he's like, this big enough for you, moron? And he's big and he's naked and looking at it. Like, where are you?
Giant Man finally eventually goes big. Like, he's hesitant at first. They try to make him like kind of sympathetic for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Yeah.
Then it's like Captain America just beats him up. And
even while he's big, Giant Man fucking sucks in this fucking.
Yeah, he really he doesn't land a single hit on Captain America.
Yeah, it is like. By the way, like we were this thing like Black Eye and Hawk Widow, Hawkeye and Black Widow. But like, and the funny thing is like, if Giant Man was in the final fight scene, he wouldn't literally have nothing to do because he sucks as a fighter. Like he's a useless fucking character. So is Janet, but like. It's funny. It's funny because like if you're gonna you could at least show why these characters are on this fucking team, but they don't. These characters are fucking useless. Like, I guess they brought in Black Widow and Hawkeye so they actually have some muscle, even though they're fucking weakling human beings. Whatever.
To me, this scene was a lot more just like Captain America being like a Gary Stu, where it's like no one can beat him. Yeah, I mean, he goes like toe to toe with the Hulk and stuff.
Yeah, he does.
It's. I love Captain America, but I'm like, he needs to be a little bit more reasonable than just like I can like take down a giant.
Isn't he just strong man? Isn't that his thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and he has a nice shield too.
But he doesn't even use it in this fight.
No,
yeah,
he doesn't
you
need to.
You think a fucking Giant Man will fucking squash him, but no, he's like, I can fucking take this guy.
And then after he beats him, he says, "How big do you feel now, dirtbag? How big do you feel?" Which we already kind of got when Hank Pym had said. Yeah.
Millar was like, I'm also clever making that line, but I keep using it.
Yeah, he's like, well, other people.
I did a
like
good
this,
thing. Yeah.
And okay, there's a couple small moments after this fight that I just want to very briefly talk about. One, because it's Mark Millar, there's a scene of Bruce Banner and Betty, and they're talking about, Bruce is like, I thought we wiped out all the aliens, how are there so many? And Betty's like, they fuck a lot and have lots of alien babies. Okay, that's something.
The Betty and Bruce stuff, I think it throws away your toxic masculinity argument. It feels more like a bio-truth. It feels like more like a bio-truths argument that women want the masculine man.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's not think. It's definite.
Yeah, because like
it is. You're right.
Because like, the whole point is that Betty hated him as Bruce Banner as a smart guy. Now that he's a fucking dumb horny asshole as the Hulk, she's like, wow, you're pretty hot now.
Not just like I can. It's like one of those things that like he's trying to go for. Women do want some like masculine tendencies, but it's literally once she sees him eat someone as the Hulk, she's like, "Can we have a conjugal visit?" Like, I swear to God, it's immediate. Like, not that you were being a tough guy or like not being a wimp for once. It's like literally when he ate another human.
Yeah, it's like a woman want the most masculine possible.
Women want to be dominated.
Yeah.
It's awful.
It's
It's
the
awful.
right loves.
So then we get a scene of Hawkeye calling his family, which everyone mocks him for. They're like, what a wimp. He calls his family and his kids and girlfriend before every mission, which is kind of like a direct thing that they pulled for Avengers 2.
Yeah.
Is like this Hawkeye secret family on the side.
I don't think they portrayed it as like being
Yeah.
wimpy.
Black Widow says that's like the reason it makes sense to because one day it will be his last or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, maybe I was so
Now
in
you're
Millar mode.
the other direction. Like Millar, fuck you. You put in his family
Okay.
just to make fun of them. Then you piece of shit.
So I was projecting.
And Hawkeye's getting cucked somewhere.
But then we get a scene that, when I was first reading it, I liked a lot, where it's Captain America visiting Janet in the hospital, and she's like, what, you just went and beat him up, and now you brought me flowers? Like, you think just because you beat up my husband, I can be your girlfriend now? Like, that's not how it works nowadays. And this is when I was like, oh, maybe this is toxic masculinity stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, which would be great. She's like, it's not 1945 anymore, Steve. You can't just beat up your competitor and win me over with some money. But then, and I'm going to jump ahead, but at the end of this book, she goes, I was just being silly. All that stuff I said in the hospital was just me, like,
Lashing
being a
out.
rational woman. Being a rational woman, not fucking loving my savior. I love you, Captain America.
She
Yeah.
said I was wrong. She was
Yeah.
wrong to push him away. She was like, I didn't mean any of it. Like,
so,
Yeah.
and like, that moment, I was like, I was wrong. I didn't mean any of it.
So this issue ends with what they're gonna go on for the rest of this fucking book. Now is they're launching because basically those two office buildings they raided were like two headquarters of these Chitauri. Like apparently these globalist scum are in not only just infiltrating in in New York, but they've actually infiltrated the world governments, the like militaries of the world. Basically, since 1945, they've just been infiltrating high positions in the world and being actual, like, Obama's a reptile, whatever.
Yeah.
And they're launching...
You're making it sound like too much like this is a plot and story. Like, this is like an afterthought. Like, this is not like a theme in this plot. Like, it's for one issue, literally.
No,
like,
they bring
this
it
is,
up
like,
several times.
Like, one issue, like, literally, like, one issue. They bring it up, like, this issue and, like, the next one, pretty much. That's it.
And the ones
I
that
took
villain.
it as it's just him saying this so we think these guys are super badass. Not that there's anything about like conspiracies or
Yeah, like,
Illuminati
me too,
globalism.
Me too, 100%. Like, I'm not gonna give them all that credit. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, either way, they're going to launch an attack on the alien headquarters. They think it's in Micronesia. There's 14,000 aliens there, and basically they want like the U.S. That's not the U.S. military. It's like it is, but it's like their like secret division or something.
the Black Ops.
But it's like 20,000 Black Ops guys. Like what the fuck?
Yeah.
Okay. And the Avengers the Ultimates are gonna go, and Nick Fury's gonna go personally, and everyone's gonna go. All right. So issue 10 is basically the invasion, but it starts out with 1944, and we have this awesome, great scene where Captain America is hanging off a Nazi train as a Nazi officer has his arms folded behind him, and he's like, "This is why you have failed, Americans." Blah blah blah, and he's just like watching, and
Yeah.
it's like it's really just fucking dumb.
And it's half the fucking issue.
This highlights how shitty of a writer Mark Millar is. This scene should have been like the first issue. This should have been like the opening scene of the comic, because this guy is the main bad guy. He shows up again in this issue. Like,
Yeah.
they don't build anything up at all. Mark Millar is incapable of building anything up.
And this guy on top of that is probably like one of the worst villains. Not like worse, but just like there's nothing interesting about him. He has not one thing where you're like, oh, this is
what
his
happened.
thing.
Mark Millar is not. I think Ryan's right that Mark Millar was writing this as he went, because he probably realized halfway through they should have a villain in the story, and he made this guy up last second. I really feel that way. It feels like that so much.
Because he had flashback scenes with Cap. It would have been
And
so
this
easy
guy's not in them
to
at all.
do.
This guy is set up in this one issue as his arch nemesis. He was never mentioned at all in the first issue. It's so fucking laughable. This is such shitty writing.
Oh, it's so bad.
And not only is like the villain just monologuing to him as Captain America is hanging off a train and they don't do anything about it, and they're like, "You failed to hijack the train. What an idiot! You're such an idiot." And he's like, "I didn't come to hijack it. I came to blow it up." And it's like, you never considered the the
Yeah,
possibility.
you didn't notice
of
all
it.
there's so many bombs on this fucking train. No one noticed any of them.
Hey, it's the same. It's basically the same thing that happens in The Dark Knight, where it's like, I actually put a bunch of bombs in this thing, and everyone's like, "How did we not know?"
No, but that's two boats that are civilian boats.
Yeah.
That like this is like a Nazi military train.
Yeah.
Anyway. So it blows up, and he's like, got him. And then...
Flashback to modern day.
No, another great line by Mark Millar. He's in Morocco, and some fucking waiter's like, would you like ice? And he's like, huh? This is Captain America. And he's like, ice? Would you...
Well, no. Right before that, someone said, like, that guy, Herr Kleiser, that he's still alive because, unfortunately, you're the only one out there with 9
And then he says
lives.
ice, and he's like, what? He's like, would you like ice cubes to cool down your drink? And he says, no ice. Like,
No ice.
what? Is it unfortunate? It's like, it's useless.
It's because he gets
And
frozen
it
in
breaks the
ice.
scene. The whole scene is a fucking serious scene where they're just explaining the plot, basically. This fucking exposition dump of the plot. And then it ends with a fucking this dumb joke. As the waiter interrupts his fucking military briefing with Eisenhower and Captain America.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not some guy that says you have 9 lives. It's Eisenhower for some reason.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, we go back to modern day, and they're launching the operation from the helicarrier. So they have like a bunch of these, I guess, and so it's like a huge fucking armada flying in. And back at home, Janet Pym is in the hospital still, and she's like, "This is weird. No one's around." And then all the hospital staff tries to kill her, and it turns out they're the aliens. And all according to Kikaiku, we were hiding in plain sight. Somehow S.H.I.E.L.D. was infiltrated by the aliens, global scum.
It's because this is so dumb. They have a psychic division within S.H.I.E.L.D. that they tried to get this information from, and the aliens decided to infiltrate the psychic division first because they would trust.
And you would think, fucking think, if you're writing a story, the psychic division will show up on panel once. This is fucking weird concept to show up on panel once, be set up at all. They just mention casual conversation. Oh yeah, we have psychics in S.H.I.E.L.D. That's it. That's all they mentioned.
I like the one idea I did kind of like is that since S.H.I.E.L.D., like, the villain guy, I don't even remember his fucking name,
It doesn't matter. Just fucking say the villain.
Hair
Say the villain. He doesn't
Kleiser.
have a fucking name. He doesn't deserve a name.
Okay, the one comment he makes is that one of the disadvantages of a big super spy organization like S.H.I.E.L.D. is since everything's need to know and no one knows who the actual boss is, you can kind of fuck around a lot because, like, it's all like, oh, someone told me you have to do this mission.
Yeah, no one's gonna question.
Anyway,
the motives.
they land on the island, and this is one of the. I know I always get on comics for being like unrealistic, but this is one of the craziest things.
This is trying to be a realistic setting. This is trying to be realistic.
Okay, so they get to the island. It turns out this whole place is completely abandoned. And instead of being like, oh, obviously there's a fucking trap, they're like, well, we already brought 20,000 soldiers here. Might as well send them all in. And they all go in, and obviously it's a giant alien nuclear weapon and blows up everything.
It's the no. We should say this is the trademark Millar bomb. In Millar universe, every bomb. It's always gonna be set to explode the right second you need it. Like, you don't have to time anything. You set a bomb randomly, and it'll always.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. It's not detonated.
They find it at 1 second remaining.
Yeah, it's not actually manually detonated. It is timed. So that is just great, Millar.
And not only that, this bomb explodes, and they just copy paste the fucking scene from Terminator. You have just skeletons
I
like
did
holding
enjoy that.
onto a fence for some reason.
Oh, yeah, it is.
So every single goddamn soldier was just sent in to just go look around at this abandoned base and say, like, I hope there's no trap here.
And they're like, oh, it was all a distraction, so that now every other part of the world is completely unguarded.
This bomb is so big that it just doesn't just blow up the island. It blows up all the helicarriers in the sky, every plane. It kills everything in the fucking area.
It is a nuke, but like,
No,
wow.
it's
an alien bomb. It's glowing green.
Exactly. It's like, this is not something that humans can create. This
But
is
they do
alien
call
bomb.
it like a nuke. They do call it like a nuke.
Well,
And also, the big reveal at the end of the issue
Oh
is...
my god.
The guy who showed up in the beginning of the issue was set up.
No! Well, what's so funny is it's a full page spread, and it says, "Who are we? Well, let's just say the past has come back to haunt you, Mrs. Pym." And I stared at his face, and I was like, Who is this?
Me
and then
too,
I went
me
back to
too.
the beginning, I was like, this doesn't look like this guy.
Like, is this supposed to be Matt Nicholson or something?
Yeah,
like
I
that?
thought it was Mads Mikkelsen. And also, what a dumb thing to say. He says maybe the past has come back to haunt you. Person who's never met or heard about me before.
A person that had nothing to do with World War II, Mrs. Pym.
I didn't. I was like, her?
Her?
Like, if it was like Hank, if it was Hank Pym, that'd be an interesting twist.
Anyway, someone take this off my hands.
It's so dumb.
You're right.
So who is this me now?
Yeah.
Shit. So Wasp like goes to fight this guy and is instantly put into a test tube because whatever. And he reveals that they've taken over all of Shield. And this is when they get that whole info dump that they put chemicals in the water and chemtrails and they're turning the freaking frogs gay and whatever. And they have no individual identities, so they took over all these Nazi identities by I think it's implied that they ate them. like they need their flesh or something.
Yeah.
No,
And
it is because he says I'm going to eat you. Janet.
One must consume to become.
it's implied when he says, "I'm going to eat you and be you."
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, we have to say that these are aliens based on the Skrulls from Marvel, which are aliens that are shapeshifters that infiltrate human society.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, since it's Millar, they have to be flesh eaters who eat your skin to become you. They can't
Yeah.
be shapeshifters.
Yeah. And basically their plan was to take over the entire solar system, but they're now left with only Earth as like their last step or whatever.
Yeah,
And
the whole fucking universe they take over, and now we're being like the last final phase.
yeah. And it turns out that the Ultimates, shocking, weren't destroyed in that trap. Iron Man had a force field and it saved everybody. And
Not everybody, just the Ultimates.
Oh yeah, just the Ultimates. I meant everybody with a name.
There are a few soldiers, but it didn't save everyone because there's a fucking lot
There's
of soldiers.
also a scene you missed before that. I was so confused about what direction he wanted to take the plot in and what point he was trying to make with these aliens infiltrating. Because what happens is he explains all the things like what they're going to do and everything. And then an alien like armada just invades and an alien guy shows up to talk to the main villain. It's like, we gotta fight and kill everyone now.
Yeah, like fuck the.
Which is like, why not make that your main plot? They're like, hey, we're gonna invade right now.
Well, because they're not invading. If you saw, they're all like damaged. They were fighting that other
Yeah, they're
alien
fighting.
race.
But this setup is why I don't give Millar credit for this being conspiracy. I think it's just like Ryan said to be badass because. As soon as it comes into effect, it's gone immediately. It's a conspiracy, but now it wasn't a conspiracy until now.
Why
now it's a
couldn't
conspiracy, now it's
you
over.
fold the alien invasion in with the conspiracy? Be like, now's our time that we're gonna take
Yes.
to invade and stuff, rather
At
than
least
be
that.
like, we have to invade right now.
Yeah. To go back to what theory I mentioned before, that Millar wrote this issue by issue. I am positive he watched an Alex Jones episode and wrote the last issue. Now he watched like fucking Mars Attacks or some shit. He's like, now I want to do that. Like that's what he fucking did.
No, they mentioned more conspiracy stuff here because the militaries of the world are apparently being told by their leaders who
But
are
it's only
these
these two
aliens.
issues. If you miss these two issues, you would not know about this conspiracy shit at all.
Yeah.
Like it's not intertwined at all in this fucking story.
Yeah. So then Thor teleports them all in, and he's like, "Iron Man saved us." And then Captain America's like, "Your country needs you, soldiers who we didn't save."
That was such a great. It's like because every military of the world is told not to fight because of the lizard men controlling them, and Captain America makes a speech. He's like, "1776 will commence again. It's called Patriots. Come defend your country."
I thought how crazy it is too that he tells them it's like literally do not obey your commanding officers. You have to come help fight us. It's like this is gonna create so much chaos and panic. That's what happens if your commanding officer isn't an alien.
Yeah.
So you're a commanding officer.
Yeah, he is.
If this is a commentary on the fucking Bush years. None of this conspiracy shit works at all. None of it works.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with the Bush years. This is just.
Did we already mention the fact that there's like 9,000 panels of the main villain holding Wasp in a jar and just expositioning us
Yes,
forever?
there's so much.
It's like forever. He's just like, here was our plan for this. Here was our plan for that. Then we're gonna do this.
Yeah, there's
and
no
then we're
reason
gonna
for
do
And you
that.
could have
too.
cut that entirely and just had the aliens invade right then and there, saying we're just going to invade right now, and that it would have been the same plot wise. This issue could have been cut like 9%.
Yeah. So now, issue 12, the famous one. It's the big fight. Captain America flies a plane into the Nazi leader. They punch each other a bunch. Thor's blowing shit up.
No. He flies a plane into him, it explodes, and the Nazi guy emerges naked. So this is the third time Captain America's fought a naked man.
That is true. That is a very good point.
He's fighting indecency and immorality in
Well,
America.
Millar's being genius. This is about masculinity and our homosexual tendencies. Blah blah blah.
Yeah,
Fuck that shit.
yeah.
Thor's blowing fucking spaceships up. Iron Man.
Thor is the best part of this book.
Yeah,
And
he
he flies around as Thunder God and he's like, I'm fucking God, and just blows everything up. Like he's so strong.
Thor is a Marvel movie character in this book. Like he just came from the movie universe. He's like a fun, likable character. He came into this comic book and he's just doing what Marvel
And, no,
characters
he
do.
is so fucking strong. Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand how. I like the fact that he's not really part of the team because if he was, they wouldn't need the rest of the team. Like
Yeah.
he literally is God, and he comes down. He's just like alien spaceships, blow them all up with thunder.
There's not one single time in this book where Thor is wrong about something or he can't do something.
That's one of the problems with Thor in general. Why I don't like Thor as an Avenger. Because I don't like Hulk as an Avenger either. But here it brings more into question. Because at the end they're like, we have to turn Banner to Hulk. We have to turn Banner to Hulk. But like you have Thor. What can Hulk do that Thor can't?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Thor can't seem to lose.
Yeah, he's kind of like Superman without a kryptonite weakness.
And
Yeah.
and his big downside is that as he's blowing up all these alien ships, they're like falling onto Earth where people are. But like, there's no way to get around that. Like,
Yeah.
if you have to take down alien spaceships, they're gonna fall onto the ground.
So now, this scene that happens next is like all these scenes that I've been talking about. It's
Bad?
It's almost good, but then I don't get why Millar ends it the way he ends it. So Iron Man is redirecting a ship heading for the city, and he crashes and he freaks out, and paramedics are trying to get him. Like
When he freaks out like he can't. He's like having shell shock. Like I can't do
Yeah,
this. Like,
yeah.
There's too much pressure.
Yeah,
guys.
I'm not as smart as they think I am. You know, God nobody's as smart as they think I
guys,
am.
I before you, I have to say one Iron Man quote from before.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the reason I wanted to do issue 9 was for this quote. When they're talking about when Nick Fury's talking about.
Nick Fury was talking about fucking literally because he was talking about how Iron Man was fucking his girlfriend while he was making business deals with like 10 foreign leaders or some shit like that.
Yes, that's the one. He's like, oh, you know, Tony Stark's pretty smart. Have you ever met a man who conducted multiple multilingual business deals, pleasured his girlfriend on the phone and read a 600-page like physics manual at the same time? And you're like, are you like Mark Millar? Like, why do you have to do this?
Yeah. And when we were talking about like Iron Man making sense. Like when Ryan was defending this, sorry to put you on blast here, Ryan. But you were defending, saying it makes sense that Iron Man is 100% over the top Millar because he's about to die, so it excuses this shitty writing. I'm like, no, it doesn't, Ryan.
It's like why Millar? Like, how could you conduct a business deal in multiple languages over the phone and have phone sex with your girlfriend at the same time?
Secret,
you can't.
He was doing like secret like codes where he's like, "Yes, I will take that offer."
Oh my god, I don't know. When I read that, I was like, this is so Millar. Like, and he wants to be cool. Like with the Nick Fury fight here too, he wants to include him in the fight. So he's like, he has this whole page where Nick Fury's like, activate, secret operation, and his whole operation is just to become invisible and shoot the villain in the head. But villain doesn't care about bullets. Obviously, he got hit by a plane. Yeah. And it's like, that's it. That was Nick Fury's plan. Like, whatever. Continue. Sorry.
So,
but yeah, back to the shell shocked.
So throughout this scene, Iron Man is shell shocked, and he's like, no, like you said, like, I'm not as smart as they think I am. No one's as smart as they think I am, which I like a lot. And he's just like, and throughout the whole book, they have implied that he's always drunk and he says, like, no one can be brave enough to do what I do if they weren't, like, tanked. Mm-hmm. And then, so at this point, we actually see that he has some of this, and he's like trying, and the paramedics of these cops are like, you have to wake up, you have to fight them. Like, if you don't do it, nobody can. Like, you're our hero, you're Iron Man. And he's like, and a kid is like, you can do this, and his little kid, and he gives him the thumbs up, and then he's like, fine, plug me into like the city's power grid or whatever, and then he flies away.
Iron Man flies off and he says, I believe I got a job to do, and then the paramedic that helped him said, better him than us, huh? And the other guy he's talking to says, tell me about it, man, and then he pushes the kid that gave him the thumbs up down.
Why?
I will defend the scene. This is where I believe it's a parody. I believe it's a parody but it's a shitty parody because here's the thing, because like it's trying to go for that scene where the hero is like, oh, I can't do it, and then the people whisper, no, you're a hero, and the kids come out and give him a thumbs up, and he's like, I'll do it for you, I'll do it for the kids, and then they're like, what a fucking idiot, and then they push the kid aside, and it fucking destroys the point of the scene.
It's a parody, but it's not like a commentary. It's just like, it sounds like Millar being funny, like, wouldn't it be funny if that kid got pushed down?
Yeah, it's a parody, but it's just like, it's not making a statement. It's just saying, isn't that stupid that they do that in movies? Like, isn't that dumb?
Yeah. So, it's just so dumb. So then, Black Widow breaks in and she frees the Wasp, but they can't deactivate the nuke that's going to destroy everything because it's alien. And this is when Nick Fury tries to back up Cap, and it looks like they're going to lose, but oh my god!
Yes! This is actually my favorite part of almost the entire Ultimates.
Nick Fury shoots him in the head, and then, like, the alien, and then he's like, you can't beat me, I'm a shapeshifter, headshots don't fucking count, or whatever. And they're fighting, and the alien is about to kill Captain America, and he's like, you should surrender. And Captain America loses his mind and starts beating the shit out of him, and he goes, surrender, surrender, and then what does he say, Darryl?
Well, first of all, he slams his shield into the alien's stomach and splits him in two. And he says, you think this letter on my head stands for France? And it's a full-page spread. It's beautiful. How terrible
and the previous page, by the way, is also just Captain America saying, surrender, surrender. Mm-hmm. Mark Millar thought this joke was so funny. He set up 2 pages just to say this one joke.
Yeah. And this is a fucking fake-out kill, too. Like, he kills the villain, not actually, so, like, why?
And the thing with these scenes, too, is all of the art is super dark and heavy red tones. Mm-hmm. And, like, it looks like a, war zone. And it looks so good. It's, like, maybe my favorite Hitch art. in this whole book, and it's just like, you think this A stands for France, and he's pointing at his head while he's spitting out teeth, and I'm like, God damn it, Millar.
I definitely think because Hitch is perfect for a book like this that is, like I keep saying, Avengers. I keep saying it because it's fucking boring. This is supposed to be a more realistic Avengers, and like Hitch is perfect for that because it looks like a war scene, but it's still Mark Millar characters in this fucking fight.
Yeah, and if you want to read Hitch doing this exact thing, but a million fucking times better, read Warren Ellis's Authority. It's what this tries and fails to be.
This does kind of play into like where you're talking about it being subversive about Captain America being an asshole, which I feel like this is like peak because it's putting down a nation that fought the Germans in World War I and II. And it's being like, America's so important. Like, I kind of like the self-importance and grandioseness of it, where it's like, we're not, France, we're better than that, we're America kind of a thing.
Captain America shouldn't have been the World War II fucking hero, to make this fucking point. Because, according to Captain America, France was still... He fought, like, Captain America fought alongside the French in fucking World War II. Like, that's a modern fucking stereotype during the Bush years. And they fucking, they have characters like this. They had a Captain America in the 80s that was a Reaganite asshole. And he lives up to those fucking cliches. They should have done the same thing with this fucking Captain America. Made him a Bush-era asshole. Again, even though this idea, him being a Bush, using those Bush-era ideas, it doesn't work because Captain America, World War II people wouldn't think that way by the French. The joke doesn't fucking work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. It's amazing how he botches every fucking joke he's trying to make. Everything. It's amazing.
And then as I said before, they're like, we can't win, and throw Hulk out of a plane.
So Bruce Banner's like, I'm too drugged up, it won't work. So they just throw him out.
They have a panel where because Bruce Banner says that, and then the guy starts beating him up. And if you look on the plane, everyone's got a shit-eating grin as they smile at a nerd getting beat up. They're like, come on, turn into the Hulk. And then it doesn't work, so they're like, all right, Captain America's like, move on to plan 2, so they throw him out the window.
Immediately after throwing him out of the plane, that helicopter explodes.
Also, the guy who's beating him up has hate tattooed on his knuckles, because why the fuck not?
Why not?
Oh, we should quickly mention, by the way, that also Black Widow saves Janet. Like
I did mention that.
Oh, he did, but like I said, it would have been more interesting if Janet actually saved herself. Otherwise,
she can't. She's a wasp. She stings the main villain. He's like, that doesn't work.
Yeah, like, why even include her power if both times she uses it, people are like, this does nothing to me.
Yeah,
this is a fucking wasp sting, you idiot.
It's so fucking stupid. And also, then Jan is like, oh, I can't figure out how this nuke works. We're fucked. Yeah. And I just bring it up for a reason.
All right, so the last issue...
Okay, Darryl, take us home.
Yeah, I'll take you guys home.
Calgon, take me home.
Take you guys to hell, please.
Yeah, so Banner gets thrown out of the helicopter. He falls into a facility, and he turns into Hulk once he hits the bottom of it. And then...
This actually has a joke I like. Nick Fury's like, that was a pretty loud thud for a 98-pound weakling. Like, that's
not funny because he, like, you threw him out of a fucking helicopter and he could have died.
Yeah, but who cares about Banner? Phil, Banner is a disgusting little ant of a man, and Millar wants us to know it.
You fucking
by the way,
shingy piece of shit.
Yeah.
I also want to point out that this entire concept is a ripoff. People who are like, this is a good idea. Banner being dropped out of playing like a nuke. This was in the comic like a few years before called Banner, where the military did this to Banner. And so even this one idea is a ripoff of another better comic. So
Hulk immediately goes after Captain America because Blue Man was supposed to be Banner's friend, but Blue Man made a fool of him.
Oh my god.
And then Captain America's genius plan is to say, he tells him, it's like, you don't understand, this isn't about you and me, this is about your girlfriend. And he's like, what do you mean? And it's like, that naked guy over there says he's been all over Betty the whole time you've been in solitary. And this is like, for the rest of the issue, it's Hulk fighting this guy while he's saying, naked guy think Hulk stupid? Naked guy think Hulk not find out about it?
Yeah, you cuck Hulk?
Oh my god, there's cucking. I was right, there's gonna be cuckolding in this comic. Hulk was afraid of being cuckolded.
Yeah, and actually, this is Mark Millar's rage at being the thought of being cucked.
Hulk touched naked guy like naked guy was touching Betty.
Yeah, and he says he's gonna rape the guy, and then after him, they want him to go after the alien spaceships. So Captain America, again, with his part 2 of his plan, is like, hey, the aliens called you gay, and he goes, no, Hulk's straight.
Yeah, they called you a sissy boy. You really gonna let them get away with it? Yeah, Hulk jumps up and destroys the spaceships. And meanwhile, Tony goes to find the bomb that Wasp...
Yeah, because you know what? None of this matters, actually, because this bomb will blow up the solar system, apparently. Somehow. That is amazing. That is...
Because it was made to blow up this universe in case they lost...
Amazing, though. What force in the? It's crazy.
Well, it's fucking superhero sci-fi,
Yeah,
but like
yeah,
again,
well.
it's supposed to be realistic, so it's hard to fucking.
But
judge
even
it.
that, Mark Millar couldn't have a bomb that blew up the planet.
Yeah.
It has to blow up the whole solar system.
Because like a supernova wouldn't destroy like Pluto or anything. Like
Pluto's not a planet, bro.
But he said this whole solar system, and it's part of our solar system. You idiot.
guys.
I also want to point out that when they call over Tony, when Janet calls over Tony on the intercom to ask for help, Hawkeye picks up the message first, and he gets so distracted by Janet saying, "Help! Somebody help me!" that he gets shot, and he calls her a fucking bitch for daring to use the intercom.
Yeah, good.
That's the only reason why he's there. Hawkeye's only there for just to call her a bitch. Like, that's why the whole scene's there.
Oh my God.
So then they take the bomb out of like the facility, and Iron Man's like, I can't do anything with this. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have Thor come over here and teleport the bomb away to another plane of existence, and you get like 2 pages of Black Widow basically being like, I can't. This is crazy. He's a mental patient. He's insane. He's delusional, schizophrenic, and she's just like she doesn't believe. And we've spent 12 issues with Thor, including one issue where he's destroying several spaceships out of the sky. And it's like, you really think this guy can't teleport a bomb? Like,
And especially, he teleports them there.
Yeah, he did teleport them.
This is an interesting premise that's been done before, but it's an interesting idea that Thor might be a crazy person that doesn't really have any powers. But if they didn't have this scene, they only have that one scene to even address the idea that he's a crazy person.
He already did it with Banner being like,
I know,
I don't
but then
believe you.
this is his attempt to make it a theme. It's not a theme. It's just that one scene.
Yeah,
the one,
like it doesn't make
idea.
sense this late in. Like you wouldn't get to like the very end of a Marvel movie and they're like, wait, can Thor really do this, guys?
It's just like the fucking everything else he brought up. He brought it up one time, and but now he's trying to bring it back. It's too late. You didn't do it. You fucked up. The flashback of the Nazi shipping earlier. This stuff with the Thor being crazy shipping earlier. You fucked up. It's too late.
Yeah, like
Final fight scene.
literally the worst time you could do it is after he blows up an alien armada with lightning coming out of the sky.
Yeah.
Like after teleporting the whole team there, and then he's like has to spend multiple pages pretending that someone could disbelieve that this guy has powers.
And this is fucking Black Widow saying this. Like what makes Black Widow like? Oh
Yeah, my
my
favorite
God.
is she's like, Tony Stark earlier was like, aliens, can you guys believe this? And Black Widow's like, there's more to life in the cracks behind like society and stuff. But then she's like, I can't believe it. I'm teleporting a bomb away. That's impossible.
And Iron Man's like, don't be stupid. Of course there's aliens.
Yeah,
you
they
fucking
just like
dumb
flip
idiot.
sides for no reason.
He's like, he fucking forgot who wrote which scene.
Oh my God.
Alright, so anyway, Hulk smashes it.
Wait, he teleports the bomb to literally to where someone lives, where Fafnir is.
The waste of Nostrum.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was funny, and it like reverberates.
So yeah, and then he does it. Then he smirks. He's like, haha. And then
Fafnir the dragon.
and it reverberates through our dimension, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
and then Hulk eats the main villain. And then he-
Yep,
Oh, yeah,
literally
yeah,
eats him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he's going crazy. So then they have Hawkeye shoot him with an adamantium tipped arrow to turn him back into Banner.
Like this fucking fake tension scene where you're like, oh, is the Hulk gonna kill Nick Fury and Hawkeye right now? Like,
The funny thing is, like, it's not even like it's gonna kill Nick Fury because Hawkeye's the only one in point of danger. Like, he's running towards Hawkeye.
no, but he
and,
would
like,
knock down that whole fucking helicopter.
I know, but they don't even stress that. They're stressing that Hawkeye's in danger. Hawkeye, a character you cannot conceivably give a fuck about. He's barely in this comic book. This is the only thing of substance he does. It's so fucking laughable. This fucking
And
tension scene.
the whole team laughs at Hawkeye for getting scared of Hulk,
Yeah.
as if they weren't instantly about to be crushed too. Like literally, Hulk is flying through the air
He
with the
turns
bullet.
into Banner
With the
as he's flying through the air and he lands on him. And he's like, get him off me. This lunatic's gonna eat me. And they're like, is that a fact, Hawkeye? This guy gonna eat you in his sleep or something? And it's such a Millar moment where everyone's just an asshole to each other. Everyone's
And they're so
always mean
cool.
and rude and not serious.
And like, how could you see the Hulk flying at your helicopter, and moments before he's about to kill you, he turns in that second. You're like, I got a quip ready. That was too easy. Like,
Yeah, how would you not be like pissing your pants at that point?
Oh, there is I don't remember where. Sometime in this fight, Nick Fury poops his pants. I don't know
Yeah, he
why.
does.
Like,
but it
I know
does.
what you're talking about. All I know is my pants are really brown right now. He's just like,
yeah, I do like here again though. Quicksilver's like, we saved the world, sister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like, what? And he's like, look at satellite, idiot.
Yeah, like it's that scene I mentioned.
Then you have a scene where Captain America, like a guy comes over, it's like, you should give a speech to them. And he's over by himself throwing up. And it's like, give me a minute, soldier. Which
It's like a random like bit of humanity for after all this.
yeah,
other, like, oh, we
which is
saved
so
the
weird
world.
because it's on the same panel as the Quicksilver joke.
Oh, you also, I think it's important to mention that for some reason Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch are this incestuous brother and sister that are always like feeling
Oh
each other.
yeah.
In the original comics, they're brother and sister and like each other. Of course, if they're brother and sister and like each other, they don't hate each other. They have to be incest twins. Good job, Millar. You know how to write characters. So much nuance in these fucking characters.
I've read Nemesis. I know what happens to brothers and sisters in it.
Oh god, the womb. It's gonna be collapsing.
So then, after we get to the scene with Betty and Banner, where he's like, I can still taste him in my like throat and on my tongue. It's really disgusting. I can't believe I did that. And Betty's like, can you bang me?
Yeah.
Oh my god. And
like
also,
literally, it wasn't like you could have had a nice scene if you really wanted to do the masculinity thing, where like if you wanna show how women do like some toughness in guys, like Banner could have said something like. Or done something in this book besides be a wretched piece of shit.
Like, I feel like it's so weird to do that while at the same time doing stuff with like Hank Pym and Janet's relationship, where like some women like toxic guys, where it's like we can see it through their relationship.
Oh, you're saying that the way they did do it was fucked
up. I feel like it's already done there. I don't think you need to do it with Betty and be like, but do you see like girls really like abusive men?
It could have been the twist that Janet was with Hank, and she was the one in the bad relationship, while Betty had a nice guy. But no, Bruce is a piece of shit too, and now he's a worse piece of shit. But now she's even more attracted to him now.
And also, meanwhile, while they're doing this, Shield is collecting all of Bruce Banner's shit in case the Nazi guy reforms.
Well, we know that can happen to Mark
His little shit.
Idea,
we're not saying shit like his stuff.
Yeah.
His literal poopy. His poop.
His literal poop.
Because, I mean, in Wanted, we had Shithead.
That's what I'm about to say. Like, Millar probably was like, this is a possible villain, so we have to collect shit.
This is the seed of the idea.
You could have even had Bruce Banner be like a kind of a meathead for a bit and like punch someone who said something about Betty, where like he was still being like a masculine macho ass, but like not like Hank, and Betty was like, I kind of like when you're more like
assertive.
Assertive, where instead it's like, I saw you devour that man and kill 300 people. You want to fuck me?
Yeah, like
it's like
turned on by cannibalism.
That's the thing. It's like that's not even like masculine. That's like just depraved.
It's like the Hank beating his wife stuff. It's like there's some stuff that feel like real human beings, and then there's stuff that reminds you this is Mark Millar and this is Millar world. People act like Millar people.
And it's not like she's like, I just saw you being strong. She said, when I saw you wolfing down that man's intestines like some kind of animal, I want a conjugal visit.
Yeah. Oh my god, this is so bad.
And then then it cuts to Janet, and she gets a phone call from Hank, and she's basically like, "Fuck you, Hank! Like you're an abusive piece of shit."
Yeah, it's not too bad because Hank's like super apologetic. He's like, "Listen, I want to talk. Like, I want us to like, if we're gonna break up, it needs to be on our terms." And she's very like, "No, it can't be because like you don't understand what you've done."
I feel like Mark Millar really wants to make Hank seem sympathetic. By the way, like in both scenes he's there. He's in a wheelchair, crippled by Captain America.
Oh yeah.
And he's so sad. Like, please, I'm so sorry. And she's like, "Fuck you." Like, she makes her seem like the bad guy now for no reason.
Yeah,
so
but like even this, it could be an actual character arc for Janet, where it's like this is the first time she says no and stands up for herself, and then it immediately cuts to her telling Captain America, "I was so wrong. I'm sorry that I didn't instantly fall in love with you and you beat up Giant Man. I'm so sorry." It's
Captain America, I shouldn't even have gotten involved in that. And then she says, but you did get involved. You were the only one that cared enough to get involved. And then she kisses him. And then it ends with Nick Fury going into the Oval Office and just saying, go get champagne, guards. It ain't every day we save the world.
It's another line like the fucking way cool line that it seems like trying to be clever, but it's
I also forgot to bring up that Nick Fury talked to Captain America. He's like, wow, that A doesn't stand for France is a really good line. I was blown away that Millar was congratulating himself on that line.
Yeah, Millar, like I said, 2 pages set of that scene, and now he brings it back saying, wow, that's a genius. How do you come up with such witty material, Captain America? Whoever writes your material must be a genius. You must fucking get laid all the time.
Waste time congratulating yourself on let the line stand. It got a full page spread. Why bring it back?
You guys are missing the most Mark Millar moment of this whole scene. It's not the self-congratulation. It's not the, terrible female character. It's that Tony Stark tries to fuck the president's wife. He says to Laura Bush, let me show you what my Iron Man reputation is all about.
Yeah, after 4 bottles.
Why do that? Good
job.
Good job.
Because of cooking.
Everyone
and also, while that's happening, Black Widow's like, I can't wait to date Tony Stark and make him my ex-husband.
Yeah, this is Millar world where everyone's just constantly horny too.
I want to die.
All right, please, let's just let.
Okay, end it. It's over. It's over. Done. Finally.
Okay.
There's no
Oops, I did the
subversion,
podcast.
or whatever subversion there was gets destroyed and
Yes.
disintegrates as Millar finds his true writing voice.
He is my least favorite person.
You can see Millar like being formed in this page.
You can.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Oh my god.
So final conclusion: best Millar comic I've read so far.
Nemesis is the best one.
still
No,
is.
this is still the best one. It's just the worst thing I read in a long time, but it's
Yeah.
since the last Millar, I guess.
I think Nemesis
since-
is better.
You're wrong. You mean in a funny way, though.
Yeah, whereas like this gets like offensive where I feel like Nemesis is so dumb it's hard to offend you.
This is also way longer.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
true.
that's true. I mean, you get a lot of good art. It's just
Why?
not worth
Why
it.
even rank this like though?
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
even ranked. They all suck. Marvel sucks.
So okay.
Bad writer.
So we are not doing Ultimates 2 anytime soon. So
Ever.
you
I
fuckers.
boycott. You guys can do it.
Yeah, you
fucking
people wait for us to do the
listeners.
good one. First of all, don't expect us to find it good because we might not. Second of all,
might
we're not gonna do it
not.
anytime soon.
Oh my
Well,
god.
well, also, guys, happy anniversary, I guess.
Oh yeah. We didn't even mention that. Yeah, this is an anniversary special. Happy anniversary. Aren't you glad we did this for
Yeah,
fucking
it's
3
been
years?
We wouldn't even
years.
have a show without Mark Millar, so I guess he really is great.
Yeah.
It's been
Yeah.
2 years since we actually no. This isn't the best Mark Millar that we've done because we did Civil War. And Civil War is definitely better than this.
Also, Trouble is better than this, by the way, too.
Yes, yes.
And Red
so
Sun.
our first 2 episodes were the only good Millar books.
So, we peaked already.
Yeah. So okay, well that's it. I don't want to talk about this
Yeah.
anymore.
Goodbye.
Yeah,
I'm out.
yeah,
So
yeah.
thank you guys all for listening. You should rate and review and subscribe on iTunes and check us out on whatever, comraderadio.com and join the Facebook group. And that's where all the shows are posted. So everyone should join Comrade Radio and Indie Podcast Network. And that's it. Does anybody have anything to plug? Anything
No.
special they've been working on? Okay, so thanks for listening to Divisive Issues, guys. Sly, take us away.
Thank you all for listening to Divisive Issues. I've been storing everything in my head, but not anymore, Cue Ball.
I haven't been a sissy boy. I straight.
I've been conducting an international business deal and pleasuring my wife over the phone while recording this podcast.
And I've been Hulk's intergalactic Nazi feces.
Staying continuity.